too.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Talk of Fame podcast. I'm Kayman Tigney. Today, we're joined by Vidal Webb, a native of
Vitelle.
Dayton, Ohio. She's always been an entertainer and would steal the show every chance she got. She made a name for herself in Kentucky and surrounding areas before relocating to Atlanta, Georgia to pursue her dreams further in 2009. Since then, she has traveled nationwide performing in multiple films, music videos, commercials, fashion shows, and stage productions. As this wasn't enough, she also wears a hat of public speaker, writer, director, and producer. With a passion for community activism, she uses her career in entertainment as a platform to help people in need. As a mother of three, she juggles a family and her entertainment career, all while helping others to achieve their goals. In 2010, she officially founded her first nonprofit organization called the Feed the Homeless Tour, in which she and her family help homeless individuals from state to state during their industry tours. With roles in film and TV shows such as Tyler Perry's I Can Do Bad All by Myself, Lifetime's Drop Dead Diva, and the CW's A Vampire Diaries. She took a step back from the spotlight to focus on her stage production, The Face of Homeless, which premiered in Atlanta, Georgia in August of 2013, and for the first time tied both her career and passion for helping the homeless together in one beautiful package. In 2022, she officially founded Us Three Productions, which provides a unique blend of all talents, and she possesses two various projects meant for healing and deliverance. Rather than this simply entertainment, each show depicts her real life testimony of the struggle she had to overcome to consider herself triumphant. She certainly has many stories to tell. In 2020, she published her first book, a memoir entitled I'm a Poetic Ensemble. This unique autobiographical self-help book of poetry tackles though tough topics such as depression, suicide, abuse, human trafficking, and other various topics that she has experienced firsthand. But to go through life's difficulties, this rising star is a true definition of determined as she continues to rise to the circumstances life may bring. Welcome to the show. I'm so happy to have you on and joining us on the show.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you for so much for having me. I appreciate you.
So you grew up in Daytona, Ohio, not too far from where I am in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is awesome. But can you share some of your earliest memories of performing and what inspired you to go into the entertainment industry?
So I've wanted to be an actress for as long as I can remember. I never remember not wanting to be an actress. So I I'm not really sure what inspired it. All I can say is that it's a God-given gift and talent, and I knew that that was my calling very early. So I've just always pursued that. I didn't necessarily have the upbringing and the support of family to encourage that, so I pursued that against all odds, against being told that's not a real job and all of these negative things that come with that, and continued to still go after that. So I performed in plays in school, in church, and things like that to start off. But then in 2009, I moved to Atlanta and made it my full-time career. I left the day job and just went for it. So I've just been kind of going at it ever since.
Like I know, like when people think of entertainment industry or jobs, they're like, this is not a real job. This is like a side hobby. But
Right,
sometimes
right.
when you're starting off, like most of the
Hmm.
time, you probably have like a day job or a part-time
Right,
full job
right.
to make a living or to apply for different things as an actor
Hmm.
or whatever you decide to go into. Like were there any like circumstances or anything that you had to go through during like kind of first couple of years as an actor, or was it kind of like smooth traveling all the time for roles? Like what was that like for you early on?
Of course it was rough. I don't know if anyone has the testimony that it's just smooth sailing. I don't know if
Oh
that's
yeah,
even
true.
possible, honestly, but yeah, so I mean you're always going to experience the rejection and the not being right for the part, and you have to go through 100 auditions before you get one. So you're always going to have that experience. Myself, I think the the worst experiences are what often makes me go even harder. So what really made me to leave the day job and go full time at this was not like I just had an epiphany one day and I'm going to do this now. It wasn't a good pleasant experience. It was I was getting fired from my day job from like I got fired from every single day job I ever worked. And every single time I got fired, it was for something crazy, like either somebody didn't like me or I was inspiring people too much or just something completely insane. And
Sure.
so by the last time I got fired, I was told that I was too pretty to work a regular job and I'm going to have to be an actress. I'm going to have to be in the entertainment industry because that's the only option that I have because I'm pretty. So I was just like, you know what? This day job thing is not for me. This is a sign. God is telling me to go for it, go full time. And I just never looked back. So I didn't necessarily go for it just because I wanted to and I was inspired to. Like I kind of was forced and pushed into it. So it was the best thing for me, even though it looked bad at that time because I was being rejected, I was being fired, and I'm losing my income and all of this stuff. I just embraced that and just went for it from there.
Like that's crazy that they fired you for the stupidest reasons. Like, is it possible to sue them for that for the stupidest reason?
Right.
I'm sure there
I
is.
thought about that. I really did. But then I just kept saying, you know what? The battle's not mine. I'm like, God, handle this.
Hey, it's a
So,
true blessing. As long as you pursue acting, that's probably
mhm,
God's way of telling you, well, just quit the
exactly.
day jobs and just go for acting. If
Right.
what would
Exactly.
their other signs be besides that? Probably just your mind is probably the other answer for you.
Yeah. And then just knowing that it's something that is outside of the norm for me. So, like, me, myself, if I was to choose something, like what would I want to be doing with my life, regardless of, set aside any calling, any purpose on my life, I probably would live in the woods and live off the land and just have the most peaceful, regular, not 21st century life ever. That would be me.
And then,
But because I know that I'm called to something bigger, I have to work outside of my comfort zone. So I'm very much an introvert. But I have to all the time get up and talk and meet people and sign autographs and do all these things all the time. But that's not comfortable for me. But when I watch on videos, I watch playbacks of things that I've done, projects that I've worked on, shows and all of this stuff. Like I almost don't remember doing it. It's like I just disconnect from me
Mhm.
and I just allow God to take over and just show me what I'm actually supposed to be doing. And I see from the outside looking in that okay, I was made for this. Like this is not just something that I just want to do. So it's continuing to walk in that purpose and seeing it for myself and the results that are coming out of it and how many people are being helped because I'm continuing to do something that's not necessarily comfortable for me. And that's what continues to remind me like, okay, I'm on the right path. This is what I'm supposed to do.
I'm the same exact way, but I'm like an introvert and extrovert, depending on what
Right.
situation I'm in. And
Right.
sometimes, like when I'm this like uncomfortable or I'm just kind of being
Mhm.
extrovert, I just like lean out and don't remember anything from the day after. Like
Right. You kind of
just kind of
disassociate. Yeah.
like distance myself and be like, why am I here?
Mhm.
Like,
Right.
why did I buy tickets to this thing? But when you're an actor and see things like yourself, like you have to force yourself to go to do speaking stuff, right? Speaking
Yeah.
in front of hundreds of people or
Mhm.
multiple people at a time. And honestly, that scares the crap out of me that I
Right.
personally can't do that. But that's a part of growing, especially as
Right.
an actor,
You'd
that's
be
there's
surprised what you're capable of.
like certain situations that you have
Mhm.
to do to get out of your comfort zone or you're not comfortable with it. Like there's many
Yeah,
situations I'm sure you have dealt with as well that it's like
exactly.
you have to do things that you do not want to do and
Right.
it's a pain, but it
Right.
does help you grow as a person.
Mhm. Growing pains. Absolutely. Yep.
So, your passion for community activism is really amazing. You do that all the time. But how did you decide to use your platform and entertainment to support those in need, particularly with the Feed the Homeless tour?
So the passion for helping the homeless, like you said, that specifically, it just stemmed from just me seeing other, people on the streets, people with the signs, what we see regularly when we're driving, and just just a compassion for another human to say, why are they in that situation? What put them here? How did they get here? And so that just kind of stemmed out of curiosity at first, but then realizing, or it being brought to my attention, that there was so many injustices taking place, whether that was, with the veterans who fought for this country and are now homeless on the streets, or, there's just so many things going on. And every time something's brought to my attention, no matter what that is, it's like, I got to do something about this. Like, there's just something in me that I just gotta
I'm
fix
the
this.
same
Like, well,
exact
is
way.
someone not, why is no one noticing? Do people not know this? We have to fix this. So that's where that really came from. And then, of course, my passion has always been acting. I've always just done that. I know that's what I'm called to do. So at some point, they just kind of merged. It's like you're gonna use whatever tools that you have at hand to make the injustices go away, to fix whatever the problem is. So I saw the problem, I had the tools, and I just started using my tools to fix that problem. So in creating my show, The Face of Homeless, I was able to bring to everyone's attention that a lot of these organizations that we're donating to regularly are not actually helping. Their money is going towards marketing dollars and things like this. Like, but when you're in a position where you need the help, then you go to these places and you're not able to get the help that you need. So this is something that people did not know, that I would not have known had I not gone through it. And so now I'm going to use that knowledge and the tools that I have, which is the ability to create plays and to act and to sell out a show and all of these things, to bring attention to that problem and use what I can to fix that problem. So it just only made sense to me. And as I continued to walk in that, it's just started to fall into place as it should. So that's how you know when you're called to do something and you begin to walk forward in it, like God makes a way for it to happen, and it starts to be, I want to say, somewhat effortless in a lot of ways. Like, I know I'm doing something right.
It definitely is. It really is a calling. Like sometimes you
Yeah,
don't expect to do something until you actually do it, maybe years later. And
right.
to like go back on like the homeless part, like recently, in recent years, a lot of people are kind of going more homeless. And so, like,
Hmm.
I know with veterans, there are more and more veterans going on the streets.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
come from a military family. So if I saw someone in my family that
Yeah.
deserved to be homeless, I'm just like,
Hmm.
I can't do
It
this.
hits
I
home,
can't.
like, yeah.
Like it
Hmm.
literally hits home. And
Yeah.
to have like see all these people's homeless, whether it's in my area in Scranton,
Mhm.
Wilkes-Barre, New York City, Los Angeles, or one of those big cities, and when I drive by those places, I'm just like, I
Breaks
feel
your heart.
bad
Yeah.
for those people. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know them, but I want to
Mhm.
help them. Like, even
Right.
though, like, I'm the type of person that absolutely loves to help people no matter what. And
Yeah.
whenever I see that type of thing, I'm just like, I want to get out of the car and talk to that person, see if they want
Right. Just want to
help.
give them a hug and fix all their problems. I
I
totally
know.
get it.
I feel like sometimes I'm in that situation. I'm thinking to myself, am I God or something? Like, the God feeling.
Hey, well, we're supposed to behave like Jesus. And so what would Jesus do? He wouldn't just walk by and ignore that person and be like, well, good riddance, good luck, like,
Yeah,
so
good
we're
luck. See you
supposed to
later.
be,
Like
yeah.
just pretend it just went one ear out the other.
Right. Exactly. We're supposed to be doing that. And just imagine what a world we would live in if everybody felt that way, if everybody was making an effort to make a difference in the things that they see are wrong. And when their brother or sister is struggling and hurting, like, we're all supposed to think that way. That's not the case, unfortunately, in this world today. But it's important that people like you and I do that so that we can be the example for others. And then in turn, we will help to create more people who are doing that. So
You're
that's
right. And
it's
when
very
people
important.
see people doing that, they're most likely to do the same thing they're doing, spreading love and kindness to people.
Exactly.
Maybe they're
It's
homeless
contagious.
or a veteran. Like when they see people do it, they're most likely to do the same thing and pass it forward.
Exactly. Yep.
And
That's
so
what
to
that's
go
what we got to
into
do.
your production company, you founded Us Three Productions in 2022. What
Mhm.
is kind of like the vision behind this company and how does it differ from your previous projects that you have done?
So really us three productions came together because I was doing so much, as an actress, model. I became an author, published my book during the COVID crisis, and then started doing public speaking. So it's like I was doing so much and I needed to just bring it all together into one place to where it was like, okay, let's create a production company. Now we're producing all these, because that's the one thing that everything had in common. It's like I'm producing all of these different projects, whether it's a book or play or movie or whatever. And so we just wanted to get it under one umbrella, make it official, make it, a recognized company to the government as well, and just do things, obviously we all want our passions to be also our job and our source of income. So I had to, just start making the steps to make it a job, and then also provide jobs and opportunities for other people, because the team started to grow and people started to come along, volunteers coming along to help to grow that vision, who also felt called to that. And
Mhm.
so it's just kind of gone from there. So it was something that was necessary to be done,
Mhm.
but then it just covers everything and makes it easier for me to say what I do as the founder of Us Three
Like make
Productions,
the
that
say
I don't
like
have to
add
list
the
all of these
founder
things.
and all that to the list.
Right, Us Three Productions. There we go. And that covers all of it. So,
Yeah, it covers everything you're doing and is put into one certain
yep,
thing.
just one package there.
Hey, it makes our lives 100 times easier though. Like to
Right.
tell people what we do, it is less
Mhm.
explaining to people.
Exactly. And then it's also completely different, because when you think of a production company, most production companies, I don't want to say all, but I'm pretty sure we're probably the only ones doing this. Still got to do my research on that. So fact check me if y'all like to. But most production companies are focused on producing movies. When you think of a production company,
Yeah.
they're doing movies, or they're sticking to one thing, television and everything. And I was always told, like, you have to choose one. Like, you can't do all of the things. You have to do the one thing. And something about that just does not sit right with me. Still doesn't. So I decided to put everything into one. So what we produce is not just movies. It's not just plays. Like, we produce projects that are film, and live production all in one, and then are also based on a book. So there's always a book about everything that I produce. And it's like, who's doing that, so it's
Yeah,
really
it's very
uh
rare.
yeah, I like to call it a movement, because it's not being done like this. And then to take the purpose is the message. That's the one thing that's always going to be there through every project that's done. And to take that and then present it in a way that the community, the public receives it better, because everyone likes movies, everyone likes TV, everybody, some people like to read, not everybody likes to read, but like,
Mhm.
it's presented in multiple different ways. Even music is something that we're going to also get into producing more of. So it's like we're covering all of the realms of talent and entertainment, and there's not a production company doing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I have a tendency, when you tell me I can't do something, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Oh, I'm the same way. Like
It's
whenever
like
it says
daring
someone
me,
like, "Oh,
like,
you have too much going on," I'm like, I don't care. I'm doing this
yeah.
anyway.
If you dare me to do something, I'm gonna do that.
Oh
Or you
yeah,
tell
and
me I
sometimes
can't
I'm
do
like, well,
something,
I'll try it. I don't know if it's gonna last, but I can take a shot at it and
you're
see.
gonna make it happen.
But to go back to like what you said, like to
Mhm,
production companies, it's most of the time specifically maybe just for music or
mhm,
movies. It's that's
mhm.
kind of
Right.
what most like
Mhm.
production companies are. But
Right.
to do something that covers maybe a variety of things is something
Mhm,
that I personally don't see often, and I
mhm.
don't think there's a ton of stuff out there. Like
Yeah.
if you guys know any production companies that does a variety of different things,
Let
let me
me
know.
know.
I'd love to
I'd like
hear.
to meet them.
Yeah, we all love to meet those companies and learn more. But to see those companies like yourself do that, like to go variety of, it's like
Mhm.
awesome to see because most companies, like especially production, only stick to maybe one specific industry and that's it.
Right. Hmm. Yep.
And to go to your memoir, I Am a Poetic Ensemble, it
Mhm.
tackles some heavy topics. And so what topics you uncover in your book?
Okay, so just to name a few, we cover the topics that people don't want to talk about. So everything from depression, just trigger warning everybody, depression, suicide, abuse, domestic violence, child abuse, human trafficking, homelessness, of course. Everything that I talk about and cover in any of my projects, be it a book, play, whatever, is stuff that I've experienced myself. So I only speak from what I know.
Mhm.
And as life continues to unfold, I'm constantly learning stuff every day. So I'm never going to run out of material to give you guys. Um, but yeah, I speak from my own personal experience and life experience, and things that, over the past history of existence, have been kept quiet for the most part, a lot of the things that we talk about. But we are coming into a day and age now, a day of social media and technology where we are talking
Yeah.
about things that nobody wants to talk about. We are, we had the Me Too movement and all of these things, like people are coming out with their truths, and it's
Yeah.
helping so many other people in doing that. So that's
Mhm.
just a few of the topics that we cover in the book and in my shows.
Ooh, like that's so great. Like I have to read the book one of these days
For
once
sure.
it's definitely something I love to learn more about because I literally like go crazy about those topics and to learn more about them. So I have definitely have to buy the book next couple of weeks.
For sure.
Um,
I'll definitely send you one. I'll sign it and everything, right?
oh, thank you. So the next question I have for you is like, what was kind of the hardest part about writing your book and kind of sharing your experiences? Because when people share their experiences most of the time, it gives them kind of relieving those dark moments like that they had gone through,
Hmm.
especially if it's your personal experience.
Yeah, so writing it wasn't the hard part. That was, like you said, that was therapeutic. To like the going through the process of writing it. I had been writing it for a long time, like since I was a teenager. So a lot of what's in the book is journal entries, poems. It's written in poetry format so that it flows easily and it's more relatable, and people who like poetry will love it. So the writing part was easy. When I got to the editing part, that was a little bit harder because there's certain ways that I do write that communicate a specific message to the people that I don't want an editor to come and change that. So that was a little of a struggle. But the hardest part was when it was all done, and now it's time to actually push the button to publish it. Like just push the
Mhm.
button. So that was the hardest part, because it's like, okay, now, it is finished. And, you know, leading up to it, there was a lot of distractions and procrastination and everything on my part, but I still knew what the ultimate goal was. And even though that came years later than I expected, by the time I actually got to publish it, I made it there. As you know, I didn't make it there as quickly as I had originally anticipated with the setbacks, but I made it there. And now I'm here. I got to push this button. And now my mind is really messing with me with what are people going to think and how are people going to receive this? And all the people that are tied to this story, which I don't mention any names. I never mention names because it's about the problem, not the people, right?
Mhm.
So it was just such a hesitation, but I had to really weigh the pros and cons like I do with any decision that I make. And the fact of the matter is that it is more important to save lives with our message than it is for me to be worried about being embarrassed or having anybody come at me or whatever could have been a possible consequence of me publishing this book. So I chose to go ahead and just push through it and publish it. But that was not easy, but it's
I'm
done.
sure it wasn't. Like I know, like for me, if I wrote a book or am currently writing a book, like the
Awesome.
writing problem is not like the biggest issue for me. It's like when the book is actually finished and actually publishing it is a question from when I'm going to end
Right.
this. But it's like with all the money spending, finding a publisher, like distributing the books, like the amount of time it takes is going to be a big issue for me.
Right, right. Yeah. And I think so for me I chose to self-publish as another thing that I needed to do when weighing the options, because I needed everything to be presented how I need it presented, because there's a hidden message in all of my book. So I didn't want anybody changing that. When you work with the publishing company, a lot of times they have full right to change whatever they want, and then it loses the message that you're trying to convey. So I went with self-publishing, and looking back on it, it's not as difficult as it seems when you're in the moment. Like even now,
Yeah.
working on getting the next book published. I have multiple books written. I have one book published. Like the steps from the time you write it to the time it's actually published is not as long as it seems. It's just like
Mhm.
your mind will play tricks on you and have you so distracted, and just whatever procrastination you can possibly do to,
Yeah.
and really it's just a matter of going ahead and pushing it. Like we'll think that it has to be perfect in order to be published, and it does not. Like even after I published the first book, I went back and made changes. And then because I self-published, I was able to do that through Amazon. It really wasn't that difficult as I made it seem at the time when I was trying to figure out how do I do this.
Yeah.
So I went back and just changed it and just edited. So there's going to be some people out there who have the very first original rough draft. They might see some errors in it. The cover's not even exactly the same. It's got my old last name on it before my divorce, all these different things. But that, hey, those are going to be, you know how much that's going to be worth one day when you have like only a good 1,000 of those running around here and they don't even exist anymore. Like, so
Yeah.
I try to look at the bright side of that.
Hey,
And then,
you just have to find a way to not
yeah,
control those thoughts and
right. Just
actually
go
just
through it.
play along with it. Because when you
Hmm.
are stuck in those thoughts, like you are not gonna enjoy it as much as you thought you were when you were writing.
Right. Right. But you just gotta push through it. And that's the main thing is just once it's done, then it's like, okay, I can do this. I did this before. I'll do it again.
Hey, it's
And
just more
get from,
easier
from point A
writing
to
the
point B.
second one with the thoughts exactly than the first one.
Yeah.
Just because you've done
Hmm.
it before, so it's much
Hmm.
easier than the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think that is the best way to wrap up this episode. I literally had so much fun talking with you and definitely need to do a part
You
two with you
too.
one of these days. Discuss all your other projects that you're doing and upcoming
For
projects.
sure.
And
Hmm.
I really appreciate you coming on to talk with us today. It was so great to talk with you and really appreciate you coming on and taking the time.
Thank you. And I appreciate you for having me. And for sure, make sure, so this is my book, I Am a Poetic Ensemble. You can get a copy from my website just so that your viewers know. My website is vitelle.net. That's VITELLE.net. You can definitely get a signed copy from there. You can check it out on Amazon. And also just wanted to make you and your viewers aware that we do have a world tour coming up. As I mentioned earlier, we have a show that goes with every book that will ever come from me. We'll have a show with it as well. This particular show is called Nine Lives. The 2025 World Tour is starting off in January, and we are coming to Orlando, Birmingham, Raleigh, North Carolina, Atlanta, Washington, Houston, Nashville, Boston, and Bowling Green. We're not limited to that, but that is where we are starting. We're coming to all those states. So if you're in one of those areas, definitely reach out, get tickets to the show so you can experience the Nine Lives movement for yourself. It is all about healing from trauma, and that's what it's all about. We're traveling the world helping people to heal. So I hope to see you at one of the shows when we're near you,
Sure, I
or
definitely
maybe
have
we'll
to look
come
into
to
more info.
Pennsylvania.
So, like, feel free to
Yes.
send me all the info, and I'll definitely try to make it to one of those states.
Awesome. Would love to see you there. Thank you so much again
Great.
for the opportunity.
Of course. Thank you again. And thank you everyone for listening. I'll make sure to like, subscribe, and review, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.